Good morning. My name is Reverend Kylie Renner, and on behalf of the entire One Spiritual Center community, I want to welcome you here today. Thank you for joining us on this particularly beautiful morning here in Albuquerque. There's been all kinds of action in this neighborhood already this morning. We have a very sweet neighborhood tradition where for the 4th of July, we have a bike parade. And so the fire truck comes and all the kids decorate their bikes and chase the fire truck around the park. So and our neighbor showed up in a horse costume, and we just had lots of fun this morning already, and we've had some changes going on here too. So before everyone asks, and I have to answer the question 5 million times, we are expanding parking area and also expanding this patio and stage, and it doesn't look like much right now, but I promise you it will look like something soon that will make a lot more sense. So we're excited about that. And you'll get to see how our brains work, because it's, trellises and fun things. So, just that, tiny break of cooler weather got us inspired last week. So we are grateful that you're here. We're grateful that we could be together. What a joy to be re-emerging from this time and to reflect on all of that. So this morning I'm reflecting a lot about independence and interdependence and how we all fit together and how it all matters. And so I'm grateful that you chose to join us here this morning. So we're going to start with some prayer. So if you're comfortable just closing your eyes, we can get ourselves centered into this space. Just breathing into what it feels like to be alive today. With all the things going on in and around us, all the things that are calling for our attention and our awareness. And I just recognize that right where we are, right in this moment, is exactly where we need to be. Send in love with the sounds of those sirens this morning. We just anchor into a deep sense of peace, just knowing right here, right now, that truly we are whole. That there is nothing lacking or missing. And we just lean into that. And we let it be. And so it is.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. And all of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is a rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. And I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds, they had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
So I've chosen a poem that's a little heavier than the ones I normally choose and a little longer and a little harder to read. So I'm giving myself some credit here this morning. But it feels incredibly appropriate and powerful at the same time. So this is a poem written by Richard Blanco. He's a contemporary poet. He was born in Madrid to Cuban refugees and grew up in Miami, Florida. And he was the inaugural poet for one of Barack Obama's inaugurations. And this is one of his poems where he takes sections of the Declaration of Independence and wrote a poem he entitled Declaration of Interdependence. So I practiced this morning. We'll see how it goes. Such has been the patient sufferance. We are a mother's bread, instant potatoes, milk at the checkout line, her 3 children pleading for bubblegum and their father. We're the 3 minutes she steals to page a tabloid, needing to believe even stars' lives are as joyful and bruised. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. We're her second job, serving an executive in a shark gray suit absorbed in his Fortune magazine at a sidewalk cafe. We're the shadow of skyscrapers, like giant chess pieces in a game he bet his family on and lost. We're the lost. We're a father who can't mine a life anymore in a town where too much, too little has happened for too long. A history of repeated injuries and usurpations. We're the grit of this man, of his main street's blacked out windows and spray painted truths, or a street lined with royal palms, home to a Peace Corps couple who now collect art and winter in Aruba. We're their dinner party talks of wines and picket signs once wielded, retirement accounts and draft cards once burned. Where they're knowing it's time to do more than read the New York Times, buy fair trade coffee and grass-fed beef. In every stage of oppressions, we have petitioned for redress. We're the canned corn of a farmer who plows into his couch as worn as his back by the end of the day. We're watching news, having nothing to do with the field dust in his eyes or his son nested in the ache of his arms. We're his son. And a black son who drove too fast or too slow, talked too much or too little, moved too quickly, but not quick enough for a bullet. We're our dead, our blood-stained blackboards, dance floors, church pulpits. We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We're the living who light vigil candles and the cop who didn't shoot. We're the inmate with his volunteer teacher diagramming sentences, the Buddhist alongside the stockbroker serving soup in a shelter. We're the grandfather taking a selfie with his grandson and his husband, the widow's 50 cents in the collection plate, and the golfer's $10,000 pledge for a cure. We hold these truths to be self-evident. We are them. They are you. You're me. We're us. A handshake, a smile, a door held open, a seat we give up on the subway. We tend restrooms or sell art, make huevos rancheros or herb salmon, run for mayor or restock shelves, work a backhoe or write poems. We're a poem in progress. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to fulfill the promise of being one people. Necessary to abolish any government that becomes destructive to these needs. Necessary to dissolve the political bans that keep us from speaking to each other. Necessary to avow our interdependence, to look straight into each other's eyes the way we behold the moon and declare to one another, I see you. I see you. I see you. So we're just going to breathe into that promise of one people, of truly seeing one another. And we're going to take that into our meditation this morning. A lovely song named Dawn by John Bartlett.
That was a John Bartlett tune called Dawn. Here's a tune by Ziggy Marley, and you can sing along on this. There's some words that are repeated a lot. It's called "Love Is My Religion." What's yours? Never play a reggae song until the drummer's ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Take you to the temple tonight. All my days I've been searching to find out what this life is worth. Through the books and the Bibles of time, I've made up my mind. I don't condemn, I don't convert. This is a calling, have you heard? Bring all the lovers to the fold, 'cause no one is gonna lose their soul. Love is my religion. 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 You can take it or leave it. You don't have to believe it. I don't want to fight. Hey, let's go fly a kite. There's nothing we can't cure. Keep you in my arms for sure. So don't let nobody stop us. Free spirits have to soar. With you I share the gift that we know now. Love is my religion. 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 You can take it or leave it, and you don't have to believe it. Well, I'm done searching now. Found out what this life is worth. Not in the books did I find, but by searching my mind. I don't condemn, I don't convert. This is the calling, have you heard? Bring all the lovers to the fold. No one is gonna lose their soul. Love is my religion. 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 You can take it or leave it. You don't have to believe it. Love is my religion. 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 You can take it or leave it. How do you believe?
Thank you, guys. It's great. Ah, so it's so interesting to have been doing this ministry thing for long enough that when these holidays come up over and over, I have to keep on looking at, what do I believe about these things, because there's an expectation that somehow I find something relevant and new to say every year, which is kind of funny. I might be my own expectation, not anyone else's. But I was looking back this week over some of the things that I've spoken on over the years, and I found this particular theme that I spoke on, I think over 10 years ago now. And I was thinking about how it relates to this year we've just had, and a year plus we've just had, and this experience of realizing how it doesn't work to stay at some stage in our spiritual progression that says just independence, right? That we have to move to someplace else, which today I'm talking about as interdependence. And this is feels deeply relevant as it feels as if some of us really got this last year, right? Like that the choices we made affected things that we didn't realize beyond the scope of, just our own personal health. That there were ways in which we were being in the world that showed up through, the Black Lives Matter protests and the things that started to appear around just honestly, I don't even know that I can call them political divisions, because it's like some sort of ideological divisions that are showing up in around us, and not just in this country, but around the world. And it's so interesting to realize that there's like this evolution that I feel like we're being called into, and some of us have taken it and said yes, and there's still some others that we need to bring along. And so I'm sitting here in this space of realizing, that independence is great, right? We get to a place where we can say, like that 2-year-old that says, I can do it myself. And we need to learn to do those things for ourselves, including on a spiritual level, that there are things that we actually need to learn to be able to do with and for ourselves. But then we can't get stuck there. And we can't get stuck in the lie that we are independent in any way, right? It really doesn't make sense to even believe that, because obviously there's ways in which we rely on things that we don't even think about on a daily basis. So it's so interesting, right, to sit down with little kids and talk about these kinds of things. Especially, I love to ask little kids where they think their food came from. And it's fascinating, right? To walk a child back through all of the things that had to happen for that food to be present in their home, on their table. And we take all of that so for granted, right? There's a great quote that I'm going to paraphrase. It's here somewhere, that says we for all of our technical and advances, all of our poetic skills, all of the amazing things that humans can do, we owe our existence to 6 inches of topsoil and the fact that it rains. We owe so much to the fact that is present, right? And we forget about it. Here in New Mexico, at least, we seem to honor the rain more than other places. But there's this sense in which when we get down to the deepness in which all of the things that we do are interconnected, it starts to give us both great power and great responsibility, right? Great power because we realize that what we do matters, that it's connected to everything else. but also this responsibility to make sure that when we get clear that something needs to change, that we're willing to be the ones that do the moving. We're the ones that are willing to do the letting go. We're the ones that are willing to do the shedding. And we have to let go of this idea that it's going to be that all of this is going to happen somewhere other than where we are. So there's a great story about a master who had a student who came to him and said, "I'm ready to go in search anywhere you send me for the truth. Just send me somewhere." And the master was amused and said, "Well, when are you expecting to set out?" And the student says, "Well, as soon as you tell me where to go, I will go." And so the master said, "Well, I suggest that you travel in the direction your nose is pointing." "Okay, sure, master, but where do I stop?" "Anywhere you wish," the master said. "But where will the truth be?" "Well, here it is, right in front of your nose. Start seeing seeing with your unseeing eyes." And for me, this story always points me back to this idea that I think we get ingrained with culturally, that somehow the change and the transformation we're looking for is going to happen somewhere other than where we are, at some other time, with some other people. And the invitation to be drawn out of this sense of independence into interdependence, like right where we are, is an invitation to realize that that the potency of this moment includes like whatever transformation is trying to bubble to the surface, and that we can really take that on. So one of the things, though, that I realize about all of us who have been fiercely independent in our lives, right? Who have taken that and needed to be that for whatever reason, because of life things, because of how things have unfolded, that there's a way in which we relate to interdependence that still has the flavor of independence. And my biggest example for this is to ask a bunch of people who believe in interdependence whether they find it easy to ask for help. And almost no one, at least in our culture, finds it easy to ask for help. And so we've taken these kind of independent mindedness into our belief about independence and interdependence, and in doing so have left out a key component of all of this, which is that we cannot do interdependence like we're some pig-headed 2-year-old who's going to do interdependence all by myself. That's not how that works. And so this whole giving, sharing, asking, allowing, opening thing that we're called into through interdependence, realizing that my prayer is yours and yours is mine, and your health is my health and my health is your health and your good is my good. Like that whole thing that we get to do requires us to continuously be willing to look at where each of us is stopping that flow of goodness coming through and for us, because we are going to do it ourselves. We believe that we are all interconnected, but I'm going to do it myself, God damn it. And I think it's so funny, right? Because sure, independence allows us to make higher discoveries for ourselves, right? Through our own perceptions. But something else happens when we start to let this other thing in, this bigger vision in, that love in, that is so much bigger, that when we really start to operate from that level, that we get to start to realize that there's so many ways in which we have blocked the connection that is actually there by being unwilling to just let ourselves be part of the give and the take of the universe. And honestly, I think that a lot of it comes down to our desire to control it all, or feel like we're controlling it all. And so asking for help or asking the universe to participate in our greatest, in our greater good is somehow like some way in which we realize that we're going to have to let go of some of our control, and we would rather do anything except that. And so there's this funny thing, right, where I realize that for most of us, it's like we'll do everything we can think of to control a situation, like every single thing. Like we're good at this. We come up with things that are really imaginative around controlling things. And then at the last step, when we feel like we've gotten through all of the things that we could creatively think of, then we finally ask Spirit to join us. It's like the last resort. Like I can't think of anything else I could do. I'm then gonna call in the reinforcements. And I just realized that is all this kind of ingrained weirdness around pull yourself up by your bootstraps and do it yourself. And we got that so ingrained in us that we can't even ask the one. We can't even ask Spirit. We can't even ask whatever name we want to call it to enter into our lives until we have gone through every other option. And I have to tell you, this is ridiculous. And it also is a reflection of that kind of taking independence into our interdependence, that we've taken this idea and haven't actually allowed ourselves to fully participate in what it would mean if we really believed that we were one. If we really started operating that way. If we really were willing to give and receive from that place. Because there's no limits to the good that we can experience and create and all of the things that we can transform. But we have to be willing to let ourselves participate in it fully. We can't keep on blocking it by being unwilling to let the ways in which it will unfold move us into some deeper place. And so that's why that poem I started with this morning felt so powerful to me, because for me it was an expression of this way in which the conception of oneness requires us to say, I actually see. Like, I see you. But it also requires ourselves to be seen. Like, I see you, but I'm also willing to be seen. And going both ways, right? Both are as essential as the other. And I just realized that if we're going to allow the lessons of this last year to take us to that deeper place that I believe we're all being called to, so that we can help lead this thing we're doing called life to that place, that we have to be willing to really look at where we have decided that sure, I believe we're all one, but I'm not willing to ask for help. Or I'm not willing to call in divine assistance or a spiritual answer until I've come up with all of the reasons and excuses and ideas I can come up with, and I just realized that for all of us, as we look at this deeply in our lives, that we could probably come up with some places where we can see that we're doing this, like right now, right at this moment. Ways in which we're relating to life in a way that isn't actually asking or reflecting what we say we believe, which is that we're one, which why wouldn't we ask for help then? And all of the bullshit reasons we can come up with about that are all based on some myth of lack, some myth of not being whole or deserving, and just stepping back far enough to be able to see that's not going to take, that perspective isn't going to take us where we're going. That's not the perspective that's going to make us actually be able to fully emerge from a pandemic. It's not the perspective that's going to allow us to really change the political climate in our country and around the world. It's not the perspective that's going to allow us to change the environment and the direction we're going on that. If we're unwilling to not just see, but be seen, right? To not just say, yeah, we believe in this connection thing, but actually allow ourselves to be connected, to actually ask and welcome and receive in that way. And I just realized that the more we practice this, the more capable we are of declaring it. And so I honestly have been grateful for language around talking about oneness that has emerged from the pandemic, because there was so much power in people realizing that the small things like wearing a mask were capable of affecting the health of not only of themselves, but also the most vulnerable amongst us. And that language and that vision of a whole world participating mostly in a way that was saying, yes, we can do this, we know how this works, was for me one of those, like, we have language now to talk about these bigger things, about how what we do to the environment really affects things, how we treat those most vulnerable amongst us affects things. And so I just realized that language can allow us to talk to people who don't even think they're spiritual, right? Who don't think that they have anything to do with the things that we talk about around here, and realize that it actually is the basis for so many of the things that so many people are now relooking at in their lives. And so Zephyr and I were talking about it this week. We both independently of each other read articles about what they're realizing. They're doing surveys right now of people. They're always running these surveys, but they run surveys about how many people are thinking about changing jobs in the next 3 months, and the statistics of this. So they've been running these studies, right? They ask these questions over and over and over for decades and decades. And right now, those numbers are higher than they have ever been. They're astronomical. They've gone through the stratosphere. And it's not just because they're higher paying jobs elsewhere, or there's this sense in which there's a chance and an opening for something new. People are reevaluating what it means to belong to one another. And in doing so, have to reevaluate where they're spending their time. How are they using their resources? What their life is looking like. And I just, that gets me excited, right? Because when the more of us are willing to have those kind of conversations, the more we realize that we're interdependent, the more powerful that opening becomes for something really big to start moving. And I'm really grateful for this time in which so many people are looking through these new eyes that say, wow, what I do matters, right? I am that which I care about. I see, and I'm willing to be seen. And we just have to be willing to ask for assistance in this. And so I'm just going to ask you, I'm going to ask the band to come on up, but as they make their way up here, I'm going to ask you to think about maybe some place in your life where you've been holding off asking for divine assistance, asking for some wisdom to come in because you think you haven't exhausted your options yet, and you're going to do it yourself. And just think about it. Be gentle. I've got a couple, if I'm honest. And we're going to see if just opening to our connection to all things and the availability of all of the good and the love and the peace and the freedom that we're looking for allows us to shift. Not wait until the last minute. So we're going to sing into our prayer and invite you to join me in this.
Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free.
So our prayer of love today is a prayer of remembering how deeply connected we are to each other, to all things, to life itself. And I just recognize this love and this peace and power and wisdom that come from our willingness to accept not just the recognition of that oneness, but a life that reflects a willingness to participate fully in it. The giving and receiving, the asking for help from life itself. And so we are willing in this moment to allow for that help, for the assistance and the receiving side of this connection to guide us deeper into our giving as we allow ourselves to truly reflect what it feels like to participate in a giving universe that seeks to give itself to itself in every direction. And we open ourselves to the responsibility to also receive. And so just in gratitude for that connection and for just realizing that it extends in every direction, that I invite the deeper questions and I invite the deeper wisdom that show up when we allow ourselves to develop this deeper maturity around our interdependence. And so we let go of all the places where we're still holding on to the idea that if it's going to get done right, it has to be done by us and only our way. We let go of the idea that it's somehow weak to ask for help, or it's some sort of sign that we have failed. And we just allow ourselves to realize more deeply than ever before that if we are connected to all things, then there is no limit to the givingness that we are able to receive. Joyfully, gracefully, gratefully. And I just let go into that. And I let it be. And so it is.
Our prayer of love, it lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Here's a tune by Freddie Hubbard. And for those of you who are keeping score on these things, it's 2 pages. And the solos are 16 measures if you're counting.
you guys. And so thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for sharing your holiday with us. There are baskets in the trees. If you'd like to make a contribution here in person, there's also a spot on our website, onespiritualcenter.org, where you can do so as well. I want to remind you that we will be at Roadrunner Food Bank on the 4th Saturday of July from 10 to noon is the new time for their volunteer hours. And so we will be there doing whatever they ask us to do. And it's a great way to express our interconnectedness. So if you're able to join us, we'd love to have you. Also reminding you that we will not have service because we are having a summer break on the 8th and the 15th of August. So just a reminder, if you show up here, no one will be here. We'll be doing reruns. So if you have a favorite service, let me know and I will make sure it gets posted that week or those weeks that we're on vacation. Have to say I'm super excited. So let's see. And I believe that might be all I have to say for today. So thank you for being here. Let us sing.
Give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. People get ready for the train a coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith, hear that diesel humming. You don't need no tickets, you just thank the Lord. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. People get ready for the train to Jordan. It's picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key. Open the doors and board 'em. And there's room for all that love the most. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
And we have one last blessing to sing to one another.
Go forth and walk in beauty and know that we are one. From the top, no intro. One, two, three.